done a template which I emailed out to you. And when you've got your piece of card that is 11.5 by 5.5 inches, we're going to be scoring on the long side at 2 3/4, 5.5, and 8 1/4, and 11. And when you've scored at 11, that kind of gives you the little tab that we're going to have on the end. And then when we turn it round and we score the other way, we only want to score up to that third score line. I've got a template here that I've already cut out and everything, just so it shows you. So you have got this solid bit, and you're going to cut away this little part of the tab so that you're going to create a tab to glue on. And the reason why on my template I've done that as an angled cut is just so that it creates this tab on the edge. And then what you will do is you'll fold and burnish on all of your score lines, and then your flaps are all going to go the other way. So the flaps all go the opposite way because they're going to be outwards. The card will be folded in half, and that will be glued. So you'll pop glue on this tab, and make sure you fold the tab in because you want the tab to be concealed. You don't want the tab to be on the back like this. You want it to be inside the card so that when the card is completed, you can't see any tab on the outside. Okay, and then all your flaps will just flop down and you'll have this base. So I've got my card and I've got my scoreboard. And I've got my template in front of me so I can see, and I'm going to score at 2 3/4, 5.5, 8 1/4, and 11. I'm going to turn that round, and where I've got these 1, 2, 3 score lines going across, I'm going to come down at 2 3/4. I'm going to cross over the first score line, the second score line, and then I'm going to stop as soon as I reach that third score line. Okay, so now I have got that score line is going to come along the middle, but it stops there because this piece has to be kept solid. Okay, and then I'm just going to flip it round, and on that tiny little tab, okay, so with the small tab at this top end, I'm just going to score at 2 3/4 just on that small tab. So that is my indicator of where I'm going to cut to create my tab. Okay, and that's all your scoring done. Pop that out of the way. I'll bring in my scissors. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just create my tab, and that is by making an angled cut like so, and then turning around, and I'm just going to cut down that score line. Okay, I'm just going to turn it over and just tidy that up because okay, and that's your tab created. And then you're going to actually cut down now. Okay, so my tab's just here, that small tab's here, and I'm going to cut down these top 3 score lines. Okay, so I'm just going to flip it round, tabs here now, okay, and I'm going to just cut down each of those scores. Okay, so that's the first one. And if you've got a trimmer that you can do this in, then please work away with that. I'm going to cut down there and cut down that one. And we're only cutting down to the first score, okay, so to that center score line, because these will create your flaps. So I'm going to just fold those outwards, fold those outwards, fold those out like so. And then these are all going to fold inwards, inwards, and inwards. And my little tab is also going to fold inwards. Okay, and that is your box space completed. And that Now what you can do is just check if you fold in half and just make sure, because we've got quite sort of, if you might have quite thick score lines, you can just check to make sure that you don't have any uneven bits. Like here I've got a slightly uneven edge, and I'm just going to come down and just trim that so that it's straight. Just sometimes whenever you're doing scores, you end up with kind of a thick wedge really where the score line was, and you can just tidy that up. And I'm just using the card basically against itself to make sure that I haven't got any. And again here I've got a little bit out there. So just tidy those up if necessary. Yours might be absolutely fine and you might not have to do any, but I've just got a few little sticky out bits, basically, we'll call them. Right, so got rid of those and neaten those all up. Now I can come straight into gluing. So I'm folding my tab in and I'm going to get my glue. And I'm just going to pop my glue on that tab. I'm just going to smooth that out because if I don't, it'll just splurge whenever I stick it together. So I'm just going to, and I don't really want any glue getting inside the box. I'm just going to put the tab downwards and then close the box as it is. And now that's inside the card, so there's no tab on the outside. It's all nice and clean on the outside. And I'll find my back and I shall, oops, just pop those flaps down. Okay, and that is the box base created, because you need two little inserts to go inside, and they're 4 3/4 by 1 inch. So I've got them here, and I do need to score them. So I'm just going to get my scoreboard, pop that down inside, pop this down. All I'm going to do is score them at 1 inch, flip it round and score it at 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same with the other one. 1 inch, flip it round, 1 inch. Okay, and they're 4 3/4 long by 1 inch. And then when we fold in that 1 inch bit there and fold those in like that, they become our little inserts that are going to go in to the box. Okay, like this. And depending on what you're putting inside will depend. I mean, you can either have these going, so one that's tucked up that way and one that's tucked up that way, or if you want more space, you would actually do it so that one is glued in and then the other is glued in just in line to meet up. I'll show you as I do it, because I do glue these in when the box is in its made position, because it is so much easier to do, because I know exactly where I want it to go. I don't know how easy this is going to be to film, but let's see how we get on. So with these tabs, I am going to have both ends that I've scored folded inwards, okay, so flat. And I'm going to put glue on the tab like so, and like that tab like that. So both of them have got the glue on those tabs, okay, on the outside there. So the glue's just there and there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my box go a little bit diagonal, okay, just so that I'm not going to get glue everywhere. I'm going to pop this in place, okay, so just pop it into the box with it sort of diagonally. And then what I want to do is I want to push it right up against the back of the box on both sides. Okay, so it's right up, and it needs to be so that it is in line just with the top of the box. So I'll be able to show you. So it's gone in and it is just, oops, sorry. I've made it so that it is lined up, and I need to just straighten that up a little bit because that's not straight, and that's why I use wet glue for this. Okay, so that one's gone in and it's just straight across, and I'll just check the other side. That one's gone in. And then I can lay it down flat and just push it nice and flat. And I'll do it the other way as well. So make sure you fold it both ways. And then that's that in place. To get the second one in, we're going to do exactly the same with this little strip. We're going to actually, and it would have been sensible for me to actually have glued my pattern paper onto these. I might just do that now because I forgot to do it on the other one. It was an afterthought. So sorry, I haven't told you to put these in place because I didn't do it the first time either, so it wasn't in my memory. So I'm actually going to just do that now. I know it's a little bit fiddly, but I would say that yes, you should have done that before we glued it into place. Actually, that's not too bad. So the little strips, I shall pop my paper on here now before I stick this one in. And I would say do that for both. But obviously, I'm sorry I didn't say that before, but that wasn't actually too tricky to do anyway. Thought that was going to be a bit more harder than what it actually was. So we'll stick that one in. Now that it's nicely decorated. And you don't have to put the floral paper on here, because you might decide, like on this other one that I made, where I've got flowers and everything in it, you don't, you know, you might not need anything on the little insert pieces. So it just really depends what you're going to do with them. And it, so I don't know what I'm going to do, so I'm just going to put the paper on there anyway, because even if I cover it up, it's not really going to matter too much, but at least it's decorated. So I've got my strip here, I've got glue on the both tabs. Again, I'm going to put my box into like a diagonal position so that when I put this down, I'm not going to get glue everywhere. So I'm just going to pop this in. I'm going to line it up with that first insert that I put in. And then just wet glue's the best friend here, because you can just smidge it along. So I'm just going to make sure that it's in the right place. It's butted right up against that other one. And then you kind of end up with a more even space, I think, when you do it that way round, because you've got space to put something on the back here, and there's quite a bit of width there. And then you've got space to, you know, add some things on this one and then some things on the front, and it's not too close to the card front. It's just nice kind of spacing in between. Now you can cut that inch measurement down a little bit. There's no problem with that. You can cut a little bit off that if you wanted to put closer inserts in. If you wanted to add another insert, that's absolutely no problem at all. I would just say then, instead of having it with an inch either side, cut it down to having either 3/4 or 1/2 inch, and that will be absolutely fine as well. But for this, it's just easier to work out your space, and I think for the first time, if this is the first time making it. And that is the box card really complete without any decoration, obviously. And then we can just fold it flat and that'll go in an envelope. To decorate it, I would use either card strips or acetate. I've just made these so that they're really obvious to show you the colour. So these are all 1/8 of an inch wide. And they can be fatter. When I was doing this, I just wanted nice thin ones so that they would go behind the words. And I've used acetate so it doesn't stand out really, and it looks like the words are just floating in the air. So, but you can use some nice decorative card pieces. If you don't have any clear acetate, then just use some nice strips of card, and you can either use just plain white and just have them as little white strips coming up with whatever you need to attach to them, or you could have them as matching. So I could have this nice yellow color. I could make mine so I could actually come in and just get a strip of white card and just color it the same color so that it just blends in. So I can just have that strip and color it. So now when I add it to my card, it will just blend in and be part of like the same that's going on with the pattern paper and stuff. It doesn't matter what you use. So if you don't have acetate, please don't worry, because you can cover this with butterflies and flowers and sentiments and all sorts. This is really the playtime now, because you can decide what you're going to pop inside the card. The only thing to say is be careful about placement, okay? Because when you fold this card this way, you don't really want anything sticking out beyond. So if I have it in this position here, because you can actually put it in the envelope like that, so that when they open it, it's lovely and they can see everything. Or you can close it all up like that, but so when they open it, and it just kind of will all fall into place when they receive it. But the rules are that you don't want to really go outside of this space. Now, because I know I'm putting it in a 6x6 envelope, I know I've got a little bit of leeway. So my butterfly here sticking up above is going to be absolutely fine. But you don't want to really go outside of these boundaries here, so that when the card is folded up, there's nothing sticking out. Obviously, I've got a little bit of butterfly, so I was a bit naughty. So there's nothing coming out this side, and there's nothing coming out this side. And really, you shouldn't have anything coming out the top either. So that when it goes into the envelope, it will fit perfectly in that envelope. So when you're putting things in place, please just be aware of that you have got limitations. So you may want to pop it flat like this when you're decorating it, so you can see the sort of template that you're working with and your space that you've got to work within. Okay. So for this one, I could lay this flat now like this, and I know that this is my area that I can be, gluing within, popping things inside the card, and I know I can be popping things on here, and I can go over here, but I definitely can't go outside of that space. Okay, so just keep within this area. I've coloured in some flowers. This is going to be like a massive bunch of flowers in a box. So I've actually coloured in some flowers, and I've stuck them on the acetate strips. And so I used a glue dot just to attach the acetate strip to the flower. And then I've got two glue dots. They're the mini ones, mini craft dots here. And I've used two glue dots at the bottom so that I can stick them in. And you can have them obviously behind or in front, whatever you like, but I like to put them behind so that you can't really see too much of the glue dots and the acetate bit. So I'll start with the biggest one there at the back, and then I probably will have to make some more of these. And I have shaped the flowers. I've kind of used my good old bone folder scissors as usual. If you know me, you know me well. I always use my scissors to bone fold. But again, I've popped my glue dots at the bottom, and I'm just gonna, the thing to remember is trim your acetate. So you can try it first to see where your acetate's going to come to. And I can see already that I need to just trim a little bit of the acetate away. Otherwise it will come poking out underneath, and I don't really want that. So I am actually going to move my glue dot because I put it too far down. I'm going to just move that up a little bit and just trim that again. And then stick that in place. So I'll just lean this over so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to come in and line these up, and then again I'll just trim the bottom of that acetate and come down and have that like so. Okay, so now I've got a little row of flowers there, and I obviously haven't cut enough because I have to do more, but I'm just showing you how to do this so that you can obviously carry on and do this. And so this one I'm going to just pop there, and then I've got a sort of slightly closed one. I'm going to have to put another, I've only put one glue dot, and you can actually trim your glue dots in half, which even the small ones, because a half is actually enough to use. So just stick a half of a glue dot on there, come in and pop that at the other side. I'm just going to give you an idea. So then I've got a sentiment. Obviously, I want this to be a birthday card, but I've got thank you already stamped out. So I just thought I'd just show you this so you can see what it'll look like. Just on the front, I want that, don't I? Pop that on the front. So I'm just going to pop that in like so. And then pop another glue dot on that one. So just so you can see one like that, what it looks like. So there I've got thank you and a bunch of flowers, and I'm going to go and I will put more flowers in there because I think that'll be really nice when it's opened. It just looks like a huge bouquet of flowers, and I shall post it when it's finished because I am going to just keep going and make more flowers for that. And as I say, I can post it when I've finished because I think it looked lovely. It looked like a massive bunch of beautiful flowers, and that's what I'm going to do for my sister. So I will change my thank you to happy birthday, but just so you can see the idea of that, and then that'll just get closed up and then popped in a card, and when it's opened, it's ta-da! And then on the back, you can obviously you can write your message here, so you can just layer another piece of card an eighth smaller just on there so that you can write, and you could stamp on that, or because we're doing the flowers, I would add a little border of the flowers so that it just ties it all in. So we'll stick a piece of card on the back for writing our message. Okay, and that's it done.